Buying in the Dominican Republic is not difficult, but it is very different from buying in the US and in Canada. And most of the mistakes that people make here don't come from bad intentions. It comes from simply just not understanding how the system works. I live on the north coast of the Dominican Republic. I've been on the north coast for 6 years now. And in that time, I've watched people's deals go the right way, and I've watched deals go sideways for reasons that were completely avoidable. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how buying a property actually works, step by step, not from a textbook, not from what someone else says, but from what I've personally seen and what I've personally experienced living here. Part one, there is no MLS. And I wanna explain why that changes everything. One of the first things that I had to unlearn when I moved here was thinking that there was some centralized system that, kind of controlled everything, where all the properties are listed, verified, and priced consistently. There is no MLS in the Dominican Republic. When I first arrived, I assumed that there would be something like a Zillow or a Realtor.com or an MLS system like in the US. But I quickly realized that it's not like that. This is a relationship-based system, a relationship-based market. That means that the same property can appear in 3 different places with 3 different prices from 3 different people. Talk about confusing, right? And not necessarily because someone is being dishonest, but because there's no single pricing authority to regulate that. And what that teaches you early is that you're not just buying a property, you're navigating a network. That's not bad. It just means that the buyer needs to be more informed. Part 2, how properties are actually sourced. Most real properties here don't come from websites alone. They come from local broker networks, word of mouth, developer relationships, or direct owners. Some of the best opportunities that I've seen were never publicly advertised. And this is why being physically here or working with someone who is changes everything. Because photos don't tell you what the neighborhood feels like, whether the road floods when it rains, if the utilities are consistent, or if access changes seasonally. These are things that you only learn by being present. Part 3, your lawyer is more important than your agent. This part surprises a lot of us Americans. In the Dominican Republic, your lawyer is more important than your agent. Let me say this again clearly so that you fully understand and grasp what I'm saying. Your lawyer is more important than your agent. Because here, there's no title insurance system like you have in the US and in Canada. Your protection doesn't come from insurance. It comes from legal verification. Your lawyer verifies your title, confirms the ownership, checks liens, reviews contracts, and most importantly, protect your funds. I've seen people fall in love with the property and then try to shortcut the legal steps because they're excited. And that right there is how deals go wrong here. Very wrong, very fast. Excitement, let me say that one more time. Excitement is not a substitution for verification. Part 4, title verification and due diligence, the heart of the process. Before any real money should move, the title must be verified through the registry of titles. That process confirms who actually owns the property, whether it's free of legal claims, whether it can be legally transferred. I've personally seen situations where the land looks perfect physically, but it had unresolved inheritance claims. That's a big problem here. Or missing documentation, or disputes that made it legally unsellable. From the outside, it looks like a dream property. Legally, it's a nightmare. Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers. That's why physical beauty never replaces legal clarity. Part 5, deposits and contract structure. Once due diligence is underway, Typically, a deposit is paid to reserve the property. But unlike in the US, there is no escrow company to protect those funds. The protection here comes from how the contract is written and who's actually holding those funds. This is why you never casually just wire money here, ever. Your money should always, and I say that, very strongly, always move through legal oversight with clear contractual conditions and with consequences if terms are not met. I watch people wire deposits too early simply because they were excited. And here, that's one of the fastest ways to lose your leverage. Part 6, closings here are administrative, not ceremonial like in America. Closings here aren't like what you see in the US. There's no big table, no ceremonial signing, nothing like that. We're not, bringing bottles of champagne to pop. There's no closing gifts. Once the contract is actually executed, funds are transferred, title is recorded, ownership changes legally. What matters here isn't the moment, it's the preparation before it. Because this market here rewards people who do the boring work up front. Part 7, the most common mistakes that I see. I see the same mistakes over and over and over. Buying emotionally versus legally. Trusting listings more than verification. Sending money before contracts. Skipping local legal advice. Rushing decisions based off of fear of losing out. And almost every one of those mistakes come from not respecting how this market actually works. The Dominican Republic rewards patience, not speed. Part 8, who this market is actually for. This market is excellent for long-term investors, lifestyle buyers, people building, and people who understand emerging markets. It's not ideal for people expecting US-style systems, or flippers looking for fast exits, or buyers who want everything to be standardized. Understanding that up front saves people a lot of frustration on the back end. Conclusion, the Dominican Republic offers real opportunity, but only for buyers who respect how the system actually works. This channel isn't here to sell you a fantasy. It's here to offer you clarity. I'm Adrian, and I live on the north coast of the Dominican Republic. And I just share what I actually see here. If you're serious about buying or investing or understanding this market, this channel will walk you through it properly.